Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Drew, Chair of the Washington Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council. I'm calling to order our meeting for March. Ms. Grantham, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Department of Commerce.
Kelly, present.
Department of Ecology. Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Mike Livingston's present.
Department of Natural Resources.
Lenny Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission.
Stacy Brewster, present.
For local government and optional state agencies, for the Horse Heaven Project, Department of Agriculture.
Derek Sanderson, present.
Benton County.
Eddie Burrows is here.
For the Badger Mountain Project, Douglas County.
Jordan Julio, present.
The Assistant Attorney General.
John Thompson, present.
Administrative Law Judges, Johnette Sullivan. Adam Torum.
This is Judge Torum. I'm here.
Laura Bradley.
This is Judge Bradley. I'm present.
For EFSEC Council Staff, Sonia Bumpus. Amy Hofkemeyer.
Present.
Amy Moon.
Amy Moon, present.
Joe Wood. Sean Chisholm.
Sean Chisholm, present.
Patty Betts. Lindsay Remfrey. Stu Henderson.
Stuart Henderson here.
Joan Owens.
Joan Owens, present.
For the operational updates, Kittitas Valley Wind Project. Wild Horse Wind Power Project.
Jennifer Galbraith, present.
Grace Harbor Energy Center.
Chris Sharon's present.
Chehalis Generation Facility.
Stefano Schnicker is present.
Columbia Generating Station.
For Columbia Generating Station, Felicia Paxton, present.
Columbia Solar.
Owen Hurd, present.
Council for the Environment, Bill Sherman.
Present.
Megan Salome.
Present.
Chair, there is a quorum for the regular council and for the Horse Heaven and Badger Mountain Council.
Thank you, Ms. Grantham. I would want to note for the record that Eli Levitt noted in chat that he is present.
Thank you.
Moving on to the proposed agenda, you see the agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve that as the agenda?
Lenny Young, so moved.
Stacy Brewster, second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Moving on to the meeting minutes from February 15th, 2022. You see a copy of them and have received it in your packets. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 15th?
Kelly, move to approve.
Is there a second?
Mike Livingston will second.
Are there any suggested changes or edits or comments?
Chair Drew, this is Stacy Brewster. On page 18, lines 3, 14, and 18, refer to SEA. I'm wondering if that should read SCA regarding the transfer of the site certification.
I believe that should be SCA, Site Certification Agreement. Thank you. Any other edits? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? The minutes are approved. Moving on to our facility updates. Kittitas Valley Wind Project. So Ms. Hofgemeyer, is that, or who will be providing that update?
This is Amy Moon. I can provide it, or Amy Hofgemeyer can.
Go ahead, Ms. Moon.
Okay. It looks as if Eric Melbardis is not present. So in looking at his facility update, there were no environmental or safety compliance issues to report, and he doesn't indicate that there's any upcoming projects to report, no sound complaints, and no shadow flicker complaints. Any questions?
Thank you. Wild Horse Wind Power Project, Ms. Galbraith.
Yes, thank you, Chair Drew, council members, and staff. This is Jennifer Galbraith with Puget Sound Energy for the Wild Horse Wind Facility. I have no non-routine updates for the month of February.
Thank you. Moving on to the Chehalis Generation Facility, Stefano Schnitker.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, and EFSEC staff. This is Stefano Schnicker, Operations Manager at the Chehalis Generation Facility. I have nothing non-routine to report for the month of February.
Thank you. Moving on to the Grays Harbor Energy Center, Mr. Sharon.
Afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, staff. For the month of February, I have nothing non-routine to report.
Thank you. Columbia Generating Station, Felicia Paxton.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC council and staff. So my name is Felicia Paxton, and I'm the principal environmental scientist for Energy Northwest. I'm reporting for Columbia Generating Station. I have the following update. Regarding environmental compliance, Energy Northwest submitted an amended diesel generator one-time report to update the runtime information for diesel generator 3. This report is required under EFSEC order number 873. Those are the only updates I have today.
Thank you. Columbia Solar, Mr. Hurd.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, and EFSEC staff. This is Owen Hurd from Truso Energy reporting on the Columbia Solar projects. The update on construction is that we're working with PSE to resolve some communications issues on the interconnection on Penstemon, but other than that, Penstemon is pretty much complete. We've completed all of our testing and just have that one remaining issue. On Camas, we have all the modules now installed and mechanical completion is expected in the next few weeks. Vertica trails behind a bit. We're still waiting for delivery of the remaining modules and are still dealing with pile remediation. So mechanical completion is currently looking like early May. We held our first TAC meeting on February 18th and nothing to report in terms of environmental or safety complaints.
Thank
you're muted. Yep.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on to Desert Claim, Ms. Moon.
Good afternoon.
Wait a minute, could we go back a little bit there? Before we move on, I did ask because we did receive some photographs, and Mr. Hurd, I'll ask you, put you on the spot there. These are some photographs from the Columbia Solar project from some of the sites. I would assume this is Penstemon.
This is Penstemon. I think this is looking to the northeast, kind of looking east now. So you're seeing kind of half of the plant and then the other half is behind you to the left.
So that would be overview of the entire, I mean, of most of the site.
Yeah, I think that picture was taken kind of from the middle of there, in between those two sections, looking to the left in this picture. Yeah.
Thank you. So if you do have other pictures that you do want to share with us as we move forward to operationalizing the Columbia Solar Project, feel free to add them to your update.
Okay, yeah, will do.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to Desert Claim.
All right, thank
Ms.
you.
Moon.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and members of the council. For the record, this is Amy Moon providing the Desert Claim update. EFSEC staff continue to coordinate with Desert Claim. However, there are currently no project updates.
Thank you. Horse Heaven Wind Farm, Ms. Moon.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. Again, this is Amy Moon providing an update on the Horse Heaven Wind Project. In February, EFSEC staff continued to work on the preparation of the Draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS. The work has included the review of our contractor Golder's work on drafting the DEIS, as well as coordinating DEIS chapter reviews with Washington state agencies, such as the Department of Transportation, Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, Department of Natural Resources, Department of Ecology, and the Utilities and Transportation Commission. EFSEC staff continues to work on wildlife and habitat mitigation in coordination with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Horse Heaven applicant. Habitat and wildlife mitigation discussions have included impact analysis as well as opportunities for impact avoidance and minimization of impacts. This work, excuse me, continues to support the applicant in refining an updated mitigation plan. In addition to working on the DEIS in close collaboration with our contractor Golder, EFSEC is working with the applicant to draft portions of the DEIS Chapter 1 Purpose of Action. The applicant input includes the proposed project overview and background. Does the council have any questions?
Are there any questions from council members? Thank you, Ms. Moon.
You're welcome.
And now we will have the adjudicative update from Ms. Hofgemeyer.
Thank you. For the record, this is Amy Hofgemeyer. Good afternoon, Chair Drew and council members. I have a brief update for you on the Horse Heaven adjudication. We are not yet ready to present a schedule for the upcoming Horse Heaven adjudication, but staff wanted to make the council aware that we are coordinating with Judge Torum to schedule and begin drafting notices for the pre-hearing conferences. We anticipate having further detail on the conferences and adjudication schedule at the April council meeting. Are there any initial questions at this time?
Are there any questions from council members?
This is Stacy Brewster. Is there a very rough idea of when that will be happening? Or how many months out are we looking?
Sure. So we have internally talked about noticing a pre-hearing conference in April to schedule a pre-hearing, to have the pre-hearing conference held in May. We have considered internally holding multiple pre-hearing conferences, and that is part of what we are still scheduling. If we decide to hold multiple, we would anticipate announcing that detail probably in April as we get closer to that decision.
Would you anticipate the adjudicative hearing to be late summer? Or do we not know yet?
I don't think we have a very firm timeline yet, but I would anticipate mid to late summer.
And we will be talking about what format and other aspects of the adjudicative hearing as we move forward. I think the council members would be interested. So we'll try and have a more specific update in April.
Yes, those are part of the details that we're navigating as meetings continue to change their dynamic with shifts in public facilities. So we are working out those details internally and with Judge Torum to make sure we iron out everything that we need to have ready for these hearings and for the adjudication.
And again, remind me what you think the DEIS schedule might be.
We anticipate draft EIS issuance. I believe we are working to end of May at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brewster, does that help answer your questions?
It does. Thank you very much.
Yeah, as much as we know at this time. So, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the Goose Prairie Project update. Ms. Hofkemeyer.
Thank you, Chair Drew. Again, for the record, this is Amy Hofkemeyer. The Goose Prairie Solar Project has its special meeting scheduled tonight for their proposed SCA transfer. The meeting will be held virtually by Microsoft Teams or by phone from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. or until last speaker, whichever comes first. And we anticipate being able to review those comments and have any associated documentation ready for the council, hopefully at the April council meeting. In addition to that, staff are working with the certificate holder to begin coordination of pre-construction plan review.
Thank you. And if anyone who is listening or watching this meeting would like to participate at 5 o'clock today, they can go to EFSEC's website to get the information.
That's correct.
www.efsec.
Correct. And the website that will be open tonight to receive public comment, and I'm sorry, I can never remember if they're forward slashes or backslashes. It's one of the directions. It's https:// I think / comments.fsec.wa.gov. If that doesn't work, try the opposite direction / and I sincerely apologize for my confusion on the matter.
And if anyone's interested in going to our website and scrolling down the facilities to Goose Prairie Solar, you will see the information about the meeting and the comment database posted there. Okay, thank you. Moving on to Badger Mountain, Mr. Chisholm.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Sean Chisholm providing my last update on the Badger Mountain Solar Energy Project. Amy Hofkemeyer will be taking over since I have accepted a position with WashDOT. EFSEC staff continues to coordinate with the applicant as well as with both contractor and state agencies reviewing the ASC for our environmental review. EFSEC staff has issued a determination of significance intent determination of significance intent of scoping and initiated the public comment period, which begun March 14th. The comment period will last through until April 12th. The comments will be accepted during the comment period by either postal mail to Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, 621 Woodland Square Loop, Southeast, Lacey, Washington, 985043172, or go into on our website to submit them at https://comments.fsec.wa.gov/. Does the council have any questions so far?
Again, Mr. Chisholm, that was if you want to comment on the Badger Mountain SEPA determination of significance, is that correct?
Yes, it was correct.
Okay. So again, going to our website to the facility for Badger Mountain, and on that page, you will see additional information. Ms. Owens just put in the chat the comment database. So we're mentioning the comment database twice tonight, once for the Goose Prairie meeting on the amendment for change of ownership, and one for Badger Mountain on the SEPA determination of significance. Okay, thank you. Go on.
I would like to.
Go ahead.
I would also like to add for an update on the Badger Mountain land use order. I'd like to introduce Amy Hofkemeyer.
Okay, thank you and congratulations and good luck in your position with WashDOT. We'll miss you. Ms. Hofkemeyer.
Thank you, Chair Drew, and thank you, Mr. Chisholm. I'd just like to add a little bit of information. The public comment period open for the Badger Mountain proposal right now is for the scope of determination of significance. If the public has any thoughts that they would like to share for consideration of what they would like to be included in EFSEC's environmental review, please send those comments to us through any of the means mentioned.
Thank you, and that helps clarify because it's not on the actual determination, but on the scope of the review. So that's critical for people to know. So thank you for expanding on that. Go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to draw the council's attention to your packets. There is included a draft order for the Badger Mountain land use consistency determination at the January council meeting. Council directed staff to work with Judge Bradley to draft an order determining land use for the proposal to be inconsistent and to set the matter for an adjudication. Judge Bradley has worked with staff and our attorney, John Thompson, to write this order, and we have provided it to council for your review. And Judge Bradley is on the line if there are any questions that the council may have for her. Are there any questions?
Council members, you have received the draft order. Are there questions for either Ms. Hofkemeyer or for Judge Bradley? And just to summarize, I'll read the conclusion, is that Aurora Solar LLC's application is not consistent with local land use and zoning regulations. The matter shall be set for an adjudication to consider whether to recommend preemption of Douglas County's land use and zoning regulations. The adjudication may be held concurrent with or separate from the adjudication related to the State Environmental Protection Act. So just to make that statement as to what the order concludes for both those who are watching or listening as well as for the council. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion to adopt the order in front of us?
Madam Chair, this is Kate Kelly, and I move to that the council adopt this order.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Stacy Brewster, I second the motion.
Thank you. Is there discussion?
Chair Drew, this is Eli. I just wonder if the council will have a chance at some point to talk about legal precedent. I don't know if I read the memo last week, but I don't know to what degree the attorneys could give us advice on encountering similar situations or cases in the past.
Mr. Thompson?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how to answer the question. I mean, there have been instances in the past where arguments have been presented on both sides as to whether a project is consistent in compliance with local zoning. And this seemed like a pretty clear-cut case where there had been a ordinance adopted prior to the filing of the application for site certification with the council that that precluded the siting of a solar facility at this location. So as laid out in the order. So I don't know if that answers the question or if there's something more to it.
Also, I would add that we did not receive any testimony from the applicant or, in fact, any other party stating that it was consistent. And it's particularly because of the addition of the interim ordinances that were adopted by Douglas County. Is that, I guess I'm looking to you, Mr. Thompson, to verify.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. The applicant, you know, the applicant also is in agreement that the interim ordinances or the interim ordinances adopted are, you know, because of their setback requirements or setback from various geographic features, would not allow for the siting of the facility. So, but yeah, there was no testimony from the county on that point, but it was you know, it could readily be determined from the text of the local ordinances. So that's how we got to the conclusion that's outlined in the order.
Mr. Levitt, does that answer your questions?
Yeah, I guess to a degree, maybe it's a topic for another day. I'm just curious to what degree other counties have, you know, similar ordinances and have used it to either promote or discourage specific type projects.
This is the first we've seen of an interim ordinance of this nature. Mm-hmm. So I think those will be the questions we'll explore more deeply in an adjudication.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Okay, no, you're fine. It's good to bring them up, to ask those questions. Are there any other questions or comments by council members?
Madam Chair, this is Kate Kelly. I guess to kind of speak to my support for this order is that it's my understanding that as we, after we adopt the order and as we move forward within any adjudication and further discussion of this matter, that we'll have an opportunity to explore what the conflict might be and whether or not we can adopt conditions that might mitigate or at least discuss the implications of it. Yes.
Yes, thank you. That's very much what we are trying to do here. Is we're trying to take this step in the order so that we can move forward and more deeply discuss the conflicts that exist between the interim ordinances and this project, and if they can be mitigated, and then further what our recommendations would be going forward. So thank you for that comment.
Chair,
So go ahead, do I hear another?
yeah, this is Mike Livingston.
Go ahead.
So I was just going to ask on the final statement of our order here that we're considering. It says the adjudication may be held concurrent with or separate from adjudication related to the State Environmental Protection Act. So I assume in a future council meeting, we'll have a discussion around how we're going to approach that, whether we're combining those or doing them separately.
Yes, and the reason for that is that in this case, our determination of significance just came, and then we're going through the scoping process. So we'll decide whether it makes more sense to do them in two separate adjudications or together as one.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Are there other questions or comments?
Chair Drew, just a point of clarification. I guess I hadn't, when you're reading the, this is John Thompson, Assistant Attorney General. When you're reading that concluding paragraph, it occurs to me that there actually sounds like there might be an error in there. I don't have it in front of me, but the adjudication is not about SEPA, so it's not about the SEPA determination or the environmental impact statement. It's a adjudication where parties may be heard in support of or opposition to the project, as required by EFSEC statute. So probably a more accurate statement would be that it doesn't. It may be combined with the general adjudication
for the project.
For the project.
And okay, thank you. I stand. Yes, you're right. I did make that mistake, even though. Yes, I think there might be an error in the order. So I would suggest that we review that last sentence. But if we can move forward with a vote from the council, we can send to you the final language, which will, the adjudication may be held concurrent with or separate from the adjudication related to the Badger Mountain project in whole, or something to that effect.
Correct. We could just place a reference to the RCW section that requires that there be an adjudication in cases in which there's not expedited processing. I don't have it at my fingertips right now, but I would just suggest making that substitution instead of the reference to the State Environmental Policy Act.
Okay, thank you. So given that, is there agreement from the council that we adopt this order, and with that wording amended? Let's say all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted, and we will send you the wording of that order before it is signed, in case you have any comments on the final wording. So, thank you. I think does that conclude our action on Badger Mountain? Looking back at our agenda here.
Yes, there's nothing further for the Badger Mountain for this council meeting, Chair Drew.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to take a few minutes of the council's time to talk about a piece of legislation that was passed. It's called Engrossed Second Substitute House Bill 1812. And it passed the legislature. It has not yet been approved or signed by the governor, which is the next step. So I will just go give a little bit of an overview of the overall legislation, and then we'll have more of an update to the council at the next meeting. This was a governor request bill, and a few of the things that it accomplishes is to modernize EFSEC by adding clean energy language and promoting environmental justice to the intent section, adding authority for clean energy product manufacturing, green electrolytic hydrogen and energy storage facility proposers to opt in to the EFSEC siting process. It creates EFSEC as an independent agency and creates an EFSEC account. At this point, we are an agency where the chair is appointed by the governor, but the agency sits with the UTC, the Utilities and Transportation Commission, for purposes of administrative functions that are performed by the UTC. So going forward, EFSEC will, the UTC will not be required to perform the administrative financial functions and other administrative functions for EFSEC. The bill also authorizes the EFSEC chair and designated staff to offer to consult with federally recognized tribes who may be affected by proposed projects, as well as requiring the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation to work with tribes and applicants to assess potential effects to tribal culture, resources, archaeological sites, and sacred sites. The bill makes a number of tweaks to our public hearings processes, including allowing the council to limit an adjudication hearing to land use zoning issues. It also, if the environmental impact of the proposed facility is not significant or will be mitigated to a non-significant level. It also requires participants in adjudicative hearings to raise specific issues in writing prior to the adjudication, and then requires a public comment period prior to the adjudication so that people will have an additional opportunity to raise those issues. The bill adds a pre-application process so that potential applicants can work with EFSEC to consult regarding the completeness of their application. And also to ensure transparency, the bill requires the council to hold public meeting to take comments prior to issuing a recommendation when a project is granted expedited processing. So there are a number of specifics. We will be, of course, both working on our implementation of looking at our administrative processes and how we're going to move forward to provide those to our own agency. We will also be doing some rule writing and hiring staff specifically within the creation of the program that adds the opportunity for clean energy manufacturing projects to opt into a process. So we will have any rules that we put forward will come before the council. So we will have more information after the governor signs the legislation. But I did want to give you a heads up. It's a significant bill. We have put forward a couple of times in the legislature bills that included some of these pieces that are in this bill, and we look forward to having an agency that is responsive to the public and also to achieving clean energy goals. I don't know if council members have any questions. Okay. Hearing none, we will continue to give you updates as we move through this process. And thank you for your time and attention today. We will see most of you tonight at 5 o'clock for our hearing on the Goose Prairie change of ownership. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.